The recent release of LEGO's Black Pearl, and that's what I'm calling it, not the Jack Sparrow pirate ship. This represents a culmination of quite the year for fans of LEGO ships. You've got the Endurance, the River Steamboat, the Going Merry, and then the Temple Bounty, and even this one right here, the Black Pearl itself. So that's 5 ships released over the last 12 months. Now, we don't have all of those ships, but we do have these 4 here, plus another one, the original Black Seas Barracuda from 1989 all the way up here, which I think represents quite a fleet. It's not all of the ships that we have, but it's all the big ones that we have. And so what we're going to do in this video, we're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to be comparing these 5 ships across a variety of factors to see which one is going to be our Lord of the Seas. Before we get into the comparisons, we do want to tell you which ships we have and the categories. So first up, we have the Black Seas Barracuda from all the way back in 1989. We've got the Imperial flagship from 2010, the Pirates of Barracuda Bay from 2020, and then 2 from this year, the Temple Bounty and the Black Pearl. In terms of the categories, we're going to be looking at minifigs, playability, display value, building techniques, overall value in terms of money, and also the coolness factor. So those categories are going to be rated from 1 to 5, and the top winner from the category will get 5 points. The one that finishes last gets 1 point, and everywhere in between. So let's dive in to that comparison. The Black Seas Barracuda came with 8.5 minifigs if you include the figurehead. They are all pretty old school and are variations of different striped shirts or even this blue jacket torso right here. Keep in mind that when this set was released back in 1989, head printing beyond just the classic smiley face hadn't existed. So these mustachioed and eye-patched heads were brand new. The female pirate torso was probably the best or rarest, but as a kid, Captain Redbeard was the man, especially with the wooden peg and the hook. Fast forward over 20 years and the Imperial flagship came with 9 minifigs. Once again, there was duplication in the torso selection as the red jacket with crossbelts comprised 5 of the 10 or 9 torsos. The standouts here are Captain Brickbeard with his gold hook and the captain's daughter, who has a corset with a blue and gold pattern. She'll run you about $25 on Bricklink if you want to pick one up in case you're interested. The Pirates of Barracuda Bay ups the minifig ante just a bit due to its 10 minifigs. However, I will note that 2 of them are skeletons that fit within the island portion of the set. Captain Redbeard is the most desirable in terms of the Bricklink cost, which is about $10, and he has a cool minifig with his dark pearl gray hook, black jacket, green frilly shirt, and his gold epaulets. Tatuga has a cool torso with some parrot tattoos, and let's not forget Robin Loot, who has a green shirt to complement her name. The Temple Bounty is pretty new since it was released this summer, and it comes with the fewest minifigs of the 5 ships, with 6. My favorite is Zarked because of the chains zigzagging across his torso and legs, as well as the hat that covers his face, but allows his eyes to pop through. Both Zane and Naya appear to be fetching higher prices on Bricklink than the others, excepting Zarked, which makes sense because they're both brand new. The Black Pearl comes with 9 minifigs, including the figurehead. The crewmates are all named characters from the Curse of the Black Pearl movie, but the best ones, in my opinion, are Jack Sparrow, Barbossa, Elizabeth Swan, and the Sand Green Angel figurehead. These are the closest in quality to the CMF line. It shouldn't surprise you that the older the set, the worse the minifigs, because it's really hard to compare 1989 to 2025. I do think that the Black Seas Barracuda did a good job for what it was at that time, and I do give credit to the Imperial flagship for bringing back the Pirates line, or even the Pirates of Barracuda Bay for giving us some really cool torsos and winning the award for most minifigs. But in reality, these 2 sets right here have just incredible minifigs overall. All 6 minifigs with this set are very, very detailed, and there are quite a few great detailed minifigs with the Black Pearl. So that is our first, second, third, fourth, and all the way up here, the Black Seas Barracuda wins 5th place. Hey, real quick before we move on, if you're enjoying this video, hit that like button. I have a little side bet with my wife Julia as to how many likes we're going to get on this one, and I said we might be able to get to 1,000 with this one. We've never hit that number before, but I have confidence that you all are going to help us out. So smash that like button. maybe help me prove her wrong. Maybe, we'll see. Thanks for your help. The original Black Seas Barracuda has some fun playability, but that came out in 1989, and as a kid, I had no problem spending hours using it to attack the Caribbean Clipper or the El Dorado Fortress. But does it stand the test of time? Well, for this one, there's an anchor that moves up and down, a plank for any miscreants to walk, and 4 cannons in the hold. The European version of those cannons actually fired back then, but the American versions sadly did not. There's a contraption that raises and lowers treasure chests, 2 large doorways to the captain's cabin, which is also accessible from both the top and the back, plus the ship's wheel. The crow's nests are spacious and high up, which allows your pirates to scan the open seas for danger. There are plenty of weapons stored on board in case our renegade pirates need more during their battles. Oh, and there is a monkey. The Imperial flagship also has 4 cannons included, but this time LEGO didn't make the mistake of not giving us firing cannons. We get them in this set, and there's also an anchor that raises and lowers, and a much larger hold that is accessible by lifting off these 2 sections. Underneath the captain's cabin is the mess area. On the other side is a jail cell. The cabin is more spacious than that found in the Black Seas Barracuda, and it has more detail, including an organ. The back doesn't fold down, which makes accessing the interior edges of the cabin a bit difficult. The crow's nests are not nearly as spacious either. The Pirates of Barracuda Bay is a very interesting playset because it comes in shipwreck form and ship form. And the shipwreck form is not what we're evaluating here. We're going to stick to the ship itself, which means that there is a little bit of limited playability. The cannons, of which there are 3, are stored on the deck, and they do indeed fire cannonballs. There's also a fun mechanism that raises and lowers the anchor, along with a very nice system of steps that allows the minifigs to access the various levels of the ship. The captain's cabin is accessible by lifting off the roof, which reveals a desk with a nice chair, statue, treasure, and various other odds and ends. The crow's nests are expanded to the same size as the original Black Seas Barracuda, and there are tons of weapons and food available. There are some nice sections below deck, such as this bedroom, but you can't access them unless you pull the ship apart. And unlike the original Black Seas Barracuda, there is no monkey, although you do get a parrot. The Temple Bounty is full of playability. You can lift off the deck to access multiple rooms in the hold, including cots, a training room, a large mess area with dining tables, a captain's cabin with a table and other odds and ends, a second level to the cabin that has a telescope, and then there's a front section that has a room with a sextant, and then you have doors that open up to reveal the hold. There is also a mechanism in the back that opens and closes the sails that are on the side. The anchors aren't to be raised or lowered, and there are no crow's nests. There are also no cannons either, which is unfortunate, but there are, of course, a lot of other play features. Finally, the Black Pearl is largely a display set with a couple of play features. There is a mechanism that moves the cannons in and out, preparing them to fire, even though they don't actually do so. You can turn the ship's wheel that moves the rudder, which is unique among these ships. There is a captain's cabin with food, a table, and other supplies. There are some crow's nests, which are spacious, although the dual anchors are locked into place and thus don't move. This is a tough category to rank because they all kind of feel a bit similar in some way, shape, or form. I mean, a lot of them pirate ships, cannons, and things like that, but in 5th place is going to go the Pirates of Barracuda Bay. I like this set, but it's hard to access the interior, and it's got a lot of food and things like that, but not a whole lot that I find fun to play with. In 4th place comes the Imperial flagship, which has some good playable features to it, some more space. You can access the hold, the jail cell, and the mess area, but it does lack a little bit of other details with that. In 3rd place, actually, I'm going to go with the only 18 plus set here, the Black Pearl. Might be a little bit of an upset here, but I have to say, it really is a display set with a couple of small play features embedded in it, mainly as just cool technic mechanisms that can show off different aspects of the set. And then in 2nd place, I'm going to go with the original Black Seas Barracuda. This is one where maybe nostalgia hit a little bit because I spent so many hours playing with it, but I love the treasure and the weapons and the pirates and the plank and the cannons. I wish they fired in the American versions, but really it was a lot of fun, which means that in 1st place is the Temple Bounty. I know there aren't cannons. There are so many really cool play features to this set that you could spend hours just having fun with it. Display value is another tough category because these are all massive ships right here, and they are really nice to look at. But we're going to break them down from 5th place to 1st place. In 5th place, we're going to go with the smallest of the bunch, the Temple Bounty. Please note that just because it's last place here does not indict this set for anything. Rather, it is a result of the competition. This one does look great with the red dragon that stretches horizontally across the ship, the pearl gold ingots, which adds some shine to it, the sails, which might be my favorite, and if you place it next to Ninjago City, it looks magnificent. In 4th place is the original Black Seas Barracuda, which still looks sleek to this day over 35 years after it was released. For a set from 1989, it was incredibly massive and was by far the biggest, baddest set I owned as a kid. But this is about more than nostalgia. You've got the use of red, white, black, and yellow as a color combination that allows for some splashes of color. And then you've got the way the set designer uses slopes and inverted slopes to make some nice lines throughout the ship. And the use of different modified bricks adds some texture and detailing to the exterior. And despite the limited part selection at the time, there are some nice angles that are used and make that attractive to the eye. You might think then that the Pirates of Barracuda Bay is next, but it is not. We're going with an upset here. In terms of display value, we're putting the Black Pearl into 3rd place. Hear me out. At 25 inches long and 25 inches tall, it's massive. And I really like the holes that are in the sails because that's a nice touch. And I do think the flag that it has with the skull and bones, it's a cloth flag, it wins the award for the best flag. And I do like the sand green angel figurehead because it pops out. But it pops out because this thing is almost entirely black. In fact, this color obscures many details that would be fantastic to see on a display shelf, such as the window arches outside the cabin, the snot work along the back, the myriad angles used to achieve an iconic look. And I get it, it has to be black, but like Barad-dûr, this is both a blessing and a curse. In 2nd place is the Pirates of Barracuda Bay, which is such a sleek and classy upgrade over the original Black Seas Barracuda. The angles in different places are a fantastic detail, and once again, I find the black, white, red, and yellow color scheme to be unmatched in terms of LEGO Pirates. It's a bit bigger and taller than the original, which helps, but its ability to capture the look of the original while smoothing out the rough edges is excellent. That means that, indeed, the Imperial flagship gets the #1 spot in this category. It is the biggest ship of the fleet, edging out the Black Pearl by just a bit in terms of length and height. The sails are so clean and classy, while the various shades of blue and brown, accented by tan, are a great combination. Like the others, you get some nice curves and angles, and this one really stands out among the rest for its more friendly color scheme. Look, I know you're going to roast me in the comments for saying this, but I do think that the Imperial flagship here is an incredibly good looking ship, and it wins the award. It's a showstopper, to be sure. Playability and display value were pretty difficult to rank, but in terms of the building techniques, it was a bit easier. In last place is the Imperial flagship, which was a fun build back in 2010, but it's a bit stale today. There are some nice moments, such as placing inverted slopes on top of regular slopes to get a transition from brown to tan. At the front, there is some nice knotwork and angles where you turn these bow slopes to form the bow of the ship, but overall, it's not that remarkable a build. Now, this might be a bit controversial, but I am going to go ahead and place the Black Seas Barracuda ahead of the Imperial flagship, largely because it was a mind-blowing build for its time, and because it uses different parts that we're not used today. Going back and rebuilding it in 2025 doesn't feel all that stale. It's an oldie, and there are some nice techniques, such as the angle in the back of the captain's cabin, the layering of plates for the sails, and the details along the side by the rigging. But fundamentally, this is a 3-ship race between the Pirates of Barracuda Bay, the Temple Bounty, and the Black Pearl. In 3rd place is the Pirates of Barracuda Bay, which uses some great snot work along the back of the cabin. There's some beautiful angles on the sides, and there is even more snot work on the sides to get the black framing on the exterior. On top of that, there are some wonderful angles used in the cabin. In second place is the Temple Bounty, which is an incredible build. We recently did an entire review of this ship where you can see our detailed breakdown of the building techniques. But some of the highlights include the brick build hull, the snot and angled sides, the wonderful nice parts usage with these curved panels used as roofing, and angles that set the bow and the folding sails. This means, of course, that the Black Pearl is the winner of the building techniques category, and this should not be a surprise. We just did a review of this set as well, and perhaps it was the most fun set we have built this year. There are incredible angles along the side, both tilting in and up. The ladder technique was insane, which uses snot work and half stud offsets, and there's also a combination of snot and angles at the bow. And there's these beautiful windows for the cabin. I could go on and on, but this is enough to show why the Black Pearl is the best build of our fleet. Value here includes more than just the sticker price when it was for sale, as well as the price per piece ratio, which can be a flawed metric when looking at sets like this. These have some large pieces like hulls, sails, cannons, and then you've got other curved slopes and modified pieces that are rather large. And because we're comparing ships from different eras, that complicates things as well, but we're going to try to adjust for inflation and take into account a variety of things to tell you which one is the best deal. In last place is the Black Seas Barracuda. Sure, it cost $110, but that was back in 1989, which equates to almost $300 today. It comes with just 909 pieces and 8.5 minifigs, so you're not getting a lot for it, even though it is a sizable build for its era. Now, if you want one today, you're going to be looking at spending about $400 for a used copy, according to Bricklink. In fourth place is the Black Pearl. Guys, this is not that good of a deal, despite some excellent minifigs and an incredible build. We said this in our review, but we'll say it again. Only get this set when you can offset the cost through gifts with purchase, double points, or some sort of special discount. $380 for this set is not a great deal. In third place is the Imperial Flagship, which cost $180 in 2010, which equates to about $270 today. That's not super great for just under 1,700 pieces and 9 minifigs. But the reason this isn't even higher, though, is that if you want to get one today, you're looking at having to shell out about $800 for a used copy, and that is rather steep. Our second place option is the Pirates of Barracuda Bay, which cost $200 in 2020 for over 2,500 pieces. Controlling for inflation, that's $250 today, but the nice thing is if you want a copy now, you can spend about $250 to get one off of Bricklink, and that's a pretty good value. The winner here is the Temple Bounty. Not only is the price per piece very good with almost 2,400 pieces for $200, but because it's still available today, you can pair this with double points and or GWP to offset the cost even more. The last category I'm going to buzz through rather quickly because it's called the Coolness factor, and it's predicated on our family votes. We had the kids and Julia and myself kind of look at these sets and play around with them and see which ones we liked the best. And in last place came the Black Seas Barracuda. Fourth place was the Pirates of Barracuda Bay. I don't think the kids liked the color scheme all that much. In third place is the Temple Bounty. The kids liked the sails and how nice they feel, as well as the dragon motif running through it, but they were enamored with these two here, and they are like the biggest ones, so I get that. In second place is the Imperial Flagship, which means that the Black Pearl is the winner in this category. Now that we have all of the categories established, the comparisons made, we can add up the points to determine which of these ships is the Lord of our Seas. And in last place, we actually have the Black Seas Barracuda. I wished it was higher, but it didn't break out of fifth place. We do have a tie for third place between these two right here, the Imperial Flagship and the Pirates of Barracuda Bay, meaning that these are fighting for our number 1 and number 2 spots. And in second place is the Temple Bounty, which means our winner, the Lord of our Seas, is the Black Pearl. Now I can hear you asking, well, does this mean that there's recency bias? And I actually think no. We really did work hard to be objective. Kids spent quite a bit of time like looking at it different times, analyzing the ships and taking a look at which ones they liked. I have to say, the Black Seas Barracuda, I was a little disappointed finished last place, but it is hard for 1989 to carry forward all the way to 2025 with complete relevance. I was a bit surprised by the Temple Bounty being in second place, but I have to say, it's a really, really good set. In fact, in our review, I commented that it's about as good as what you can hope for in a Lego set with the building techniques, the minifigs, the nice parts usage, the value. I thought it was excellent. I was a bit surprised that the Black Pearl ended up number 1. I actually thought the Imperial flagship might end up number 1 before we started this, but that just tells you that when you break it down and you start analyzing things, trying to be objective, the winner is not always apparent. That said, all 5 of these ships are incredible sets. They're a lot of fun to build, play with, and put out on display. So I hope you had as much fun watching this and seeing all these ships as we did in building them, playing with them, and making this video. If you want to help us out, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of our other content. Thanks for watching, and always remember to keep building together.